Hey, Kenan, did you tell your parents about the cute, furry little mouse we saw at Rigby's? It wasn't a cute, furry little mouse. It was a big, nasty, enormous, mangy rat. Kenan, that rat couldn't have been about, what, this big?
Oh, Kenan, now, are you scared of a little bitty rat?
Oh, leave Kenan alone. It's not his fault that he's a wimp.
Oh, yeah, laugh it up.
Okay, I will. Mouse!
Hey, Pop.
What?
You got a ladybug on your shoulder.
Welcome back, Fantas, to another episode of Kenan Kel with Adam and Aaron. I'm Adam.
I'm Aaron.
No, sorry.
You dirty rat.
It's a long day. Yes, so we are back. Here we are. We're talking about You Dirty Rat. And Adam, I was pleasantly surprised with this episode.
Were you expecting to hate it?
I didn't know what I was expecting, and I ended up liking it very much.
That's good. So this episode has a little bit of an infamous reputation in the Kenan Kel community.
Really?
And by that I mean, like, IMDb. Let me put it this way. On like, you know how every episode I do IMDb rankings, right? I tell you, like, out of 62 where this episode is. Where do you think this episode lies on that chart?
Well, with that, it sounds like it's pretty low.
Yeah, dead last. 62 out of 62. Yeah, I know.
No way.
That's crazy, right?
It's way better than that.
Oh yeah, at worst it's a harmless episode. It doesn't deserve that kind of spite.
Oh my gosh, that's too bad. This episode is great.
Yeah, I would agree, and that's part of why I wanted to do this show. I wanted to look at the top episodes and say that what's, so about them, and look at the bottom episode and say what's great.
Oh, well, I'm ready to go. You dirty rat, bring it on.
Kenan Kel come on out in very, very ordinary outfits. I have nothing to say about what they're wearing.
Kenan's got a massive plaid shirt on, and you know what Kel's wearing. Same deal with the same hat.
So they start talking about, Kel is very excited about the show. He is so excited that he wants to spill all the deets.
Yeah, but not before he gets behind Kenan and pretends his arms are Kenan's arms and then does a robot.
It's very fun.
That was a good opening. But yeah.
Yeah. It's good opening, good closing, good bookends.
Well, Kel is about to tell the audience everything that happens in the end of the show. And Kenan stops him. He's like, whoa, you can't do that.
Yeah, and he tries again, and Kenan's like, no, stop. You don't spoil the show. Kel only has one thing he wants to say. I can't wait till you guys see the end where we find the money and rescue the elephants.
Right, the money and the elephants here. I didn't take notes this time, Adam, so I'm going off the cuff.
Oh, that's fine.
And Kenan is like, oh no, I guess we can't do that episode now because you just spoiled it.
Yeah, now we have to do a whole different show.
Okay, Adam, what do you think's happening here? Like in the Kenan and Kel universe, there's multiple dimensions or whatever. Mm-hmm. What do you think is going on with Kenan and Kel's knowledge here?
Well, I think Kenan and Kel are being kind of sneaky because they know that this episode features an animal of sorts. So they're hiding they're hiding from the audience that there's a much larger animal at stake.
So you think that Kenan and Kel both know what the episode's actually about? In
this one, yes.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah?
Oh no. It seems like Kel thinks the episode is one thing, and Kenan knows it's something else.
Oh,
so this is what I think is happening, right? So we've talked before about how we think that Kenan sneaks in and to the writer's room and steals.
Do you think that Kenan swapped the scripts?
I think something happened. Either Kenan swapped the scripts, or the writing room leaves a fake script out for Kel, almost on a golden platter. And they get him to read this fake script.
They want Kel to go into a situation where he gets into way more trouble than he would have if he knew what was going on.
Something like that. But then, meanwhile, Kenan stole the real script and then, made a photocopy or something. Or flipped through it real quick. And so he actually knows what happens.
That's why he's so smart in the show. Because he knows what's going to go on.
He knows some stuff, but then, I don't know if... I think he knows the premise, but nothing after that. I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to get into the weeds.
Yeah, well, I like how 2.5 seasons in, Kel doesn't think for a second that it would be impossible to have elephants on the show. He knows that it's 3 sets.
He had a whole singing in the orange soda number. Anything is possible.
Actually, that is a good point. Keenan's like, says, well, I know we have to do an entire different episode. And he leaves. And Kel's like, who's gonna rescue the elephants? Then he repeats that sound.
Yeah. Or he said something about, like, can we still get the money? And Kenan's like, well, of course not.
Yeah, Kenan and Kel have to be poor. That's one of the rules of the show.
They have to not have surplus money. It's not like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It's like it's something for the kids to relate to. I think, with allowances and all that, like, everyone's always like, I need something I can't get. It won't be a good show if they're just rich kids.
That's right, yeah. That'd be a terrible show.
Yeah. I think it's the same rule about Spider-Man.
Unless they were from West Philadelphia and the rich kids lived in Bel Air.
Yeah, right. But then they still have that perspective.
And the main character is one of the greatest actors of our generation. How do we start off this show, Adam?
At Rigby's. As I think we've done for maybe this entire season, every episode starts at Rigby's.
Which I'm happy with. I like the Rigby's dynamics.
Oh, yeah. And Chris is real fired up this episode.
Yeah, so Chris is on his hands and knees, scrubbing the floor with the sponge. Why not use a mop? Maybe he's getting those spots that you just can't get with the mop.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Kenan is doing the opposite of he's dirtying up a piece of bread.
Yeah. So Adam, what's his sandwich concoction?
Both Chris and later Charla are grossed out by what it looks like a peanut butter and ketchup sandwich. But Kenan is like, I'm embarrassed. I'm missing the final ingredient, bologna.
Yeah. So a peanut butter, ketchup, and bologna sandwich. Adam, I feel like one of us has to try this, and I feel like it would be me. Because I don't think you would ever do this.
Well, I was going to say, these are like all three of your kryptonites. Like, it's the most artificial possible meal.
Well, I love peanut butter.
Ketchup. Yeah.
I love ketchup. The bologna would be a stretch.
We should each make a version of this. And like you have like all the artisanal ingredients.
And you just have like the conventional.
Yeah, it's like a white bread. Just
it could probably be pretty good. Like a cured meat with like tomato and a little like peanut sauce.
Yeah, I want to send this to Binging with Babish. You know that guy?
No.
He does cooking videos on YouTube. He takes recipes from pop culture and he makes them better.
Oh, cool. I follow the guy on TikTok who makes old recipes from like the 30s.
That's pretty cool.
That's fun.
Has he roasted an onion yet?
Oh, he's done everything.
Yeah.
Yesterday he made potato candy. He put like 8 cups of powdered sugar in it. It's like, what the heck? Who has 8 cups of powdered sugar? Okay, anyways.
Well, speaking of candy, the employees of Rigby's are a little concerned because they keep finding little nibbles taken out of all the produce in the store. Chris
is on his hands and knees. Kenan asks him for ketchup. Chris is like, oh, sure, of course. And he gets all flustered.
Let me stop working to help you with this sandwich.
He's like, I'm working on my sandwich. Charla walks in and Kenan asks her if she can get him bologna, to which she appropriately says no.
As Kenan gets the bologna, Kel enters too, joins in on this nonsense, and Kel is also super interested in the sandwich. That's his jam as well.
And he says, where's the bologna? Kenan and Kel's cooking concoctions. Ooh, Adam, I think we just came up with a
minor league baseball stand.
We're really shooting for the stars.
Yeah, we'll do the cold remedy, this.
A wellness shot.
Orange soda, of course. We'll do the cake from last episode.
Ham.
Yeah, ham. Oh, ham.
Turkey.
The ham is what we'll call the ham.
You know, Adam, in all of their cooking concoctions, we saw the finished product, except for this one.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like, the cake came together, the turkey came together, but this sandwich that Kenan is piecemealing together with what seems like the last ingredients left in your fridge. Like, that's what this sandwich
Yeah, no, I've made this instead of going out for groceries before.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And he has a store full of stuff. But anyways, the store full of stuff actually, like Adam just said earlier, does have these little nibbles in it. And you can tell by the title of the episode what's coming up.
Yes, Chris finds an apple that has a bite taken out of it. Charlotte finds a candy bar. Kenan points out the bologna and then his sandwich too. And he sees on the counter, or actually he doesn't see on the counter.
Oh yeah, that's the whole gig here.
Yeah, everyone except Kenan sees on the counter that there is a brown furry rat.
Everybody knows it except Kenan.
Yeah,
Irony,
everyone's aware.
dramatic irony, or whatever it's called. And yeah, so it's like Kenan, or no, it's Kel, Charla, and Chris all like standing together, like cowering behind this counter and like pointing at Kenan.
And meanwhile, Kenan's on a rant about who's stealing the food, and he's like, "I notice everything."
Maybe it's what is it? Well, I don't even know what he said. I don't have my lists here today.
He does look down at the rat eventually, and then he does, for one of the few times in the show, looks directly at the camera.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
He breaks the fourth wall.
Worth mentioning, this episode is written by Gregory Shelton, who this is his only episode he writes.
Well, that's too bad because
Yeah.
they had a great writer here.
And he does some really good slapstick, and he does some really good like written dialogue between everyone. All the jokes are pretty good for this very simple premise.
I just love how Kenan is literally, he's like trying to pontificate. He's like standing here. He's in between like the masses, the people, and then the power counter. He's almost like making a plea on the customer side of the counter here about
And who's on the power counter?
who's on top. It's the rat. The rat is eating his peanut butter and bologna, and actually, I guess we do kind of see a finished product.
I'm
I'm
curious.
looking at the sandwich right now.
Well, I'm curious if him summoning these weird ingredients is what brought the rat in.
Oh, probably.
Well, like, if it was just peanut butter, it's like no rat's going to stop over for that. But add bologna and bread, that combo is only found in the trash.
Why the rat stopped at the apples and kept eating nibbles of other things? Maybe it's a rat connoisseur. But anyways, Kenan does break the fourth wall or dimension or whatever you call it, and looks right at the camera, and then, of course, freaks out
And runs away. We've established Kenan as a scaredy cat before.
That's right.
Let's go to the Rockmore kitchen.
Mr. and Mrs. Rockmore are sitting down for a nice dinner, and Kenan is explaining to them this about like this encounter with this demon monster rat.
Yeah, that rat was bigger than a cow.
Did you say cow or car?
I heard cow.
Okay, same difference.
Well, speaking of cows, it looks like they're enjoying a nice spaghetti dinner. Spaghetti meatballs.
It's quite the stretch. Like I knew what you were trying to say, but you didn't say the meatballs part. So, yes, it looks like they're enjoying spaghetti and meatballs, and Kenan is describing this rat to them, and he's like, "Oh," and then it was right next to me. It was all blah blah blah, all greasy, beady eyes, and the slithery tail as they both take a bite of spaghetti.
Yeah, he's like, it's just like the spaghetti here. And that causes them to stop eating.
And meanwhile, they were like, "Please, Kenan, we're trying to eat."
Kel arrives, and he helps himself to dinner. In probably his best interrupting dinner scene thus far.
Yep. He grabs a handful of spaghetti and then just starts eating it while leaning over the table.
Hey, Kenan, did you tell your parents about the cute, furry little mouse in Rigby's? So they've got two very different takes on this vermin.
Yes. Kel loves this mouse rat from the very beginning.
Yeah, he's on its side, for sure. Hey, well, Kenan wants nothing to do with it. Kenan's going through a real Phantom Menace iteration throughout this episode. He goes from
You're right, yeah.
Fear leads to anger.
Fear leads to anger, and there's just monologues upon monologues, soliloquies.
Anger leads to hate.
So fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate. Mm-hmm. And then...
hate leads to suffering.
Oh. Later in the episode.
Yes.
Adam, are the cabinets in the Rockmore household new?
Do they look prepared from the last one?
They look like they got new cabinets with glass in them now.
All right. Wow. That actually makes sense.
I don't know if... I was going to double check, but I didn't have enough time.
Last episode, you recall, Kel drilled through them with the...
Oh, I recall. Meanwhile, Mr. Rockmore is giving Kenan a hard time. He puts his hands on Kenan and goes, "Oh, it's okay, son. I just
It's
don't
not
know
his
how
fault
you.
that he's a wimp.
Yeah, it's not his.
Then he makes little like rat sounds at him. He's like,
Yeah, he's clearly making fun of him. This is a classic Roger moment. And then this is a classic Kenan coming back to Roger moment. Kenan goes, "Hey, I think you have a ladybug on your shoulder." And Roger freaks out.
I think ladybug is the perfect insect for that. That Roger's afraid of.
Everybody else is cracking up. So, good banter here. I'm happy with this scene. And that was like one of the only times we were in the Rockmore's household. I like how this episode was centered around Rigby's. I said it before, I'll say it again.
And it's also a lot of Charlotte, too.
That's what I was going to say, yeah. Lots of Charlotte.
Oftentimes she's like not an episode at all, or like for 1 or 2 scenes.
Yeah.
This is her like most on-screen appearances like so far.
That's right. So we cut back to Rigby's, and Adam, what's happening? What is Kenan trying to do?
Well, Kenan's making a sale with a customer, and the customer is kind of like, what are you doing? And Kenan is standing on the counter.
Yeah, you can only see his legs from the camera angle.
It's pretty funny. I gotta say, the framing and the cinematography in this episode are really good. There's a lot of like zoom-ins.
It's really good.
For Twitter, I usually pick out like a couple like screenshots for an episode. This one, like, made my job real easy.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a great episode. And you can tell there's like a lot of thought behind the camera angles here. Kenan is standing up there, and then the customer asks, "What are you doing up there?" Kenan's like, "Oh, I'm..." What does he say? Oh, he likes, "I love heights," or something like that.
Yeah, and Kel's there, and he's like, no, he's afraid of the rats. And then this customer, which I don't think we mentioned, is this giant burly man. And he freaks out about the rat and has an incredible performance as he leaves.
It's really good. It's really good. This is like the greatest extra role in Kenan Kel history.
Yeah, he's rats, and he runs out, and as he runs out, you see that he's about the height of like the doorway.
Yeah, he's very, very large.
He's like 6'5".
Maybe that's why they chose him for this scene to.
That's why I think so.
With Kenan standing on the counter.
Oh yeah.
Kenan is standing on the power counter, trying to pretend like he has power over this situation, which he does not.
Correct. The rat, as we're about to see, has way more power than ever possible.
The rat is in control. Charlotte is like, "Kenan, what are you so afraid of? We haven't even seen the rat in 2 days." Meanwhile, we cut over to a customer who's just entered, who picks up a handbasket, and the rat is in the handbasket. She doesn't notice.
Yes. And she starts filling it with all her groceries idly. Kenan begins another large speech about why he is not afraid, even a little bit.
This is my favorite part. This is one of my favorite Kenan scenes. So he's like, "Oh, me? I'm not afraid." The customer comes over. She's like on the phone. She doesn't realize the rat's in the basket. She places the basket down. We all know what's going to happen. So Kenan grabs like a can of something in one hand, in his left hand, and then in his right hand, Adam, what does he grab?
The rat. And he doesn't seem to realize this because he's using them as props to explain that I am so far from fear. This is fear and this is me. And he's like
his arms are like spread out.
And he's putting the rat directly into the customer's face.
This is actually one of my favorite moments in the show so far. He goes, because he's holding the thing he's afraid of. Mm-hmm. And he goes, "This is fear and this is me. Fear me. Fear me." He's making such a big deal of it.
The customer freaks out. He looks in his hand, he sees the rat, and he throws it, says, "Ah, rat!"
This is the second time that Kenan has been close enough to the rat to just grab it and throw it out of Rigby's.
Yeah, but he throws it inside Rigby's, and he's like, freaking out. "The fellow ratty."
I love this.
It's a great comedy bit. Although, unfortunately, it's followed up by a not-so-great comedy bit of Kel going around looking for this rat. And he's saying, "Hey, rat, where you at?" A customer overhears him, and, "Excuse me, did you say here, rat?"
And he goes, "Yeah," and Kenan says, No. He said, "Cheer, Matt." Right?
A not joke.
So it's pretty stupid.
Cheer, Matt. And then the lady smartly puts down her basket and leaves promptly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This lady gets a lot of camera time. I have a feeling that the director's like, let's make sure our extras really get some screen time.
They're all like, reacting correctly, I'd say, to a rat being in the store.
I like this episode because it's very rational. Like,
yes.
Everything makes sense so far. And this is a very relatable situation. Like, you have a rat You're afraid?
It's also, they make it simple for kids. Because, clearly Chris would have, like, FDA problems and stuff like that. Like, he would get health violations if there was known to be a rat in his store, and they'd shut him down. But he doesn't say that. He just says, that rat has to go. And it's shown that it scares his customers.
Yes, exactly. So it's Kenan, Charla, and Kel, and they're looking for the rat. They're trying not to scare away any more customers. And then, Adam, what happens?
Charlotte points to a lady, and she says, Kenan, there's a cheer mat in her hair. And you see, on top of this blonde woman...
older woman.
Blonde older woman, there's a rat hanging out in her hair. A giant... The rat looks huge from this angle.
It is enormous. And it's just kind of nested in this giant piece of hair. I hope I didn't give anything away there.
Yeah, and the ladies get like turning to them, and they're like, they're all smiles when she does. They're like, yeah, I'll be with you in just a sec.
Right.
and then turn out they freak out.
Yep, she turns around. They're all holding like apples, which is kind of strange. She's holding like 4 apples just like close to her chest, like she loves them. And then, yeah, Kenan and Charla are freaking out. Great Kenan and Charla back and forth, if I might say myself.
Yeah, Kenan says to her, it's like, oh, we used to do what happens when this always happens. And Charla's like, yeah, when a rat's in a lady's hair, because this has never happened before.
And then the lady turns around again, because it's taking a little bit of time. And Kenan gives her this, like, seductive, like, hey, look. And then Charla is just cheesing.
So they sneak around to the counter, and Kenan does whatever he can to get her out of there as soon as possible and take the rat with her.
Okay, so this is a good plan. This is actually what I thought of doing.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just get her to leave and then bring the rat with her? Makes sense. And that's what he said. I thought of it first. So Kenan's like trying to, why don't you just take your groceries and just get out of here?
No, they're free. Take the basket too.
She's very concerned. She's walking out, and then of course, who else is in the store looking?
It's Kel. And Kel, is on this rat's side, but still he can't stop being Kel.
What does he do?
Rat! And tackles her. And the rat flies off, and then he starts ripping at her hair. Eventually, what happens to this woman?
So this woman's hair gets like her it's a wig. Her wig gets ripped off, and then she's just starts hitting Kel. It's pretty darn funny until you realize that her wig was way worse than her actual hair.
In the canon, in the show itself, by the logic of the show, what's going on with this lady? She just wears a wig?
No, I mean people do that, but this lady she's just like an older woman.
Her hair underneath is fine.
The wig is so bad.
Or maybe to your theory, her hair underneath is so bad that she has to wear this worse wig on top.
No, but her hair underneath is fine.
Yeah.
She looks so bad with the wig on. Anyways, Kel and her are like wrestling, and then eventually Kenan's like, Kel, let go. And so he lets go. The lady who has the wig and then the rat's on the wig, she flies out the door. No, she flies out the door.
Flies out of there. Unfortunately, the door's still open and the rat comes back in.
Right back in.
Doesn't
even flinch.
You get the shot several times throughout the episode. You see Charlotte's cool blue shoes as the rat's just walking around them.
Yep, her kicks. And so then the rat kind of scurries away, and they're left to try to look for it again.
Oh, not just any kind of scurry away. We see rat cam.
Oh, is that now?
Yeah, it's so cool that
you're
the
right.
camera's right on the ground, and you see it rushing up to Kenan and Kenan running away.
It's making little rat noises.
Yeah, it's real good.
So good.
And it runs to the back room where Kenan and Kel chase it there.
Well, Kenan does.
What's happened in this back room?
Chris is dreaming. And he's dreaming about something about rhinoceroses.
Thank you, Mr. Rhinoceros. I would like a back rub. This is the second time we've got Chris sleeping in this back office, and I don't know why he does it.
Why does he have 2 employees? Like, it seems like an awful lot.
Here's a theory for you. Maybe Chris is sleeping at work because he stays up late. with his mother concocting crazy rituals.
You were so close to having that be normal.
No, because she's a witch.
Right. I understand that. I was playing Pictionary today with my students, and the word was poison, and so like they're on Zoom or in person, and I have like this virtual drawing pad, and so I was drawing, and I drew a cauldron and then a witch with like a hat, and then I drew a little bottle with like a skull and crossbones on it.
Yeah, that's classic. Classic symbol of poison.
They guess poison. Well, usually it's potion, and so potion and poison, very similar words. Never thought of that, did you?
No, I didn't.
So maybe Chris's mother is a witch.
The rat climbs onto Chris, and we have this gorgeously framed image of Chris waking up aghast at the rat on his chest.
Adam, we have to talk about this. There is a real rat, like that.
Yes, we should point
No
that out.
doubt about it. There is a real rat in the show. Sometimes, like when Kenan has the rat in his hand and is moving it all violently, that's a fake rat. And then like in the lady's hair, of course, that was not a real rat. But this is a real rat. So like this. What's our actor's name for Chris?
I think his name is Dan.
So Dan is literally just sitting there and has a rat crawl on him.
Yeah, Dan Frischman has a rat actually on him, and this looks clearly like a pet rat. You know, like it's definitely intelligent and able to be well trained.
Well, most rats are intelligent, Adam.
Yes, I know. It's a domestic one. There, are you happy?
No. But
it's like it's
let's
like the
go on. No,
city
it's
rats
fine,
are like the wolves to dogs. Pet
City
dogs.
rats are 10 times the size of this rat, I might say.
That's a good point.
Have you ever seen a city rat?
I know of their reputation.
Oh, well, okay, so it might have actually been a possum that I saw. But
That was definitely a possum.
What is a possum but a giant rat?
Chris is paralyzed by this rat, and Kenan comes in and Chris is just like, Kenan, can you please get rid of this rat?
Wait, Adam. Right above where Chris is sleeping, there's a picture.
Oh, is there?
An old picture. It looks like it's of his mother.
What?
Yeah. You don't. Do you have this open?
No, I don't.
Can I send you a screenshot?
Yes, please. I have to see this. This is, you know, that Chris's mother's never seen.
I don't know if it's her. Maybe it was the original store owner. All right, so open your phone. I'm texting you right now.
Yeah, maybe it's like Madame Rigby's. Whoever had this shop before. Is that a woman?
I don't know.
It's definitely a haunting image.
It's an old image. Like, people don't keep just old images of nothing.
It's also like kind of fallen out of the frame. Like Chris looks at it a lot. Oh, I have to get CSI on this one. we'll come back to that photo.
Yeah, like find like a prop director.
Yeah, we'll get some answers.
That picture's probably somewhere in storage or a landfill.
Speaking of reused props, did you notice the Skunkator cameo?
No.
The Skunkator logo is on the fridge in the break room. It looks like the same one that was on like Kenan's chest when he was like wearing his costume.
Oh, I gotcha. Very nice cameo. Adam, so we've left our audience wondering what's happening to Chris with this rat on his chest.
They're in stasis like Chris right now.
And so Kenan gets a broom. Chris instructs him, okay, gently sweep the rat off me.
And Kenan agrees before pummeling Chris with the broom.
Just smashing Chris. Like he closes his eyes and everything. Like there's gonna be a rat explosion or something.
Chris gets beat up hard, and Kenan is knocking him to the back door, and Kel jumps into the room and pulls Kenan off of him.
Yeah, and Kel says, "Don't hurt the rat."
Kenan's shouting like, I'm killing the rat. I'm killing the rat. And yeah, and that's where Kel replies. Probably my favorite line of his for the episode. Don't kill the rat. You'll hurt him.
Which is a great line, because that is how Kel thinks.
They see the rat go back into the main store, and Kel instructs it to run like the wind, Wendell.
Wendell, yes, he's named the rat Wendell. This is a great development so far. This scene right now is great.
Chris is like, ow, ow, ow. That does it. I'm going to call an exterminator. And then Kel says, he said he was sorry. You don't have to exterminate Kenan.
He's like, I'm not Kenan, the rat. And Kel goes, oh, that's even worse. Kenan's just looking at him like, what does our friendship mean? Okay, so last episode, or 2 episodes ago, I talked about how the possibility that Kel might have past lives, which is why he has all of these special talents.
Yeah, he's like a medium of sorts.
Yes, well, if you're following the basic reincarnation belief, he would have at one time lived probably as a small mammal.
Oh, you think he connects with this mouse because he sees him that way?
First off, Kel, throughout this whole episode, it demonstrates deep empathy with this rat. He does not want the rat to get hurt at all, which is actually...
Well, it's counter to what we've seen from Kel in the past. Recall Safe and Sorry? In the basement, he sees a giant...
Nope.
He sees a giant spider on Kenan's back, and he's like, oh, actually, never mind. I recall he wanted to scare it off of Kenan.
Right.
He didn't want to hurt it. Oh, that is consistent. All right.
So hear me out. All right. So Kel is deeply empathic, maybe even spiritually adept, and he can see the value of other living things. Which is actually a deeply moral principle, because a lot of morality has to deal with life and like continuing or extending or bettering life. And so Kel is actually taking this deep perspective. I don't even think he knows why, but he's just like, oh, I don't want that rat to get hurt.
That's perfect.
So yes, Kel can connect emotionally with other living things.
I agree with that. Who he cannot connect with in this next scene is this new exterminator character.
This is like Dan Schneider's long lost brother.
Yeah, so his name is the actor's name is Joel McCrary, and he's done a bunch of like little roles here and there. He's done stuff in like American Beauty, and I think he voices some character in like Over the Hedge. He's got a rich tapestry of roles. In this one, he plays a large exterminator man.
I don't know, but he walks out with like the greatest swagger of all time for an exterminator. And then I forget what he says, and then Kel jumps on his leg and is like, please don't kill the rat or hurt Wendell.
Hey, can you please take him off of me? So he describes the first wave of traps that he puts down.
This is great. This is an exterminator explaining how a mousetrap works.
Yeah, and like Chris is like, will this work? And he's like, well, it depends on how smart the rat is.
And then he proceeds to eat the cheese off of the mousetrap that he just had.
He's got like a one scene wonder, this exterminator, because we don't see him again throughout the episode.
He gives this weird, just like a, oh yeah, it's gonna work, and then winks almost and walks away.
To return tomorrow. The rest of the scene is basically Kel goes into the back room looking for Wendell. And they're talking about how you'd have to be so stupid to get caught in this trap.
And, of course, who just ran to the back room, Adam?
Kel.
And who gets stuck in about 10 mouse traps?
Kel. He's got them all over him. He's got some, like... Doesn't he have, like, one on his tongue?
His tongue. Yep, tongue.
His arms.
Yeah, he is not in good place, and he falls to the floor. As we go to our next scene.
Yes, that evening... at the Rockmore household, Kenan and Kel having a sleepover. Kel is explaining, like, why he likes this rat so much to Kenan. Like you said, the empathy. He says, what if you were a rat and someone wanted to kill you?
Exactly. And he's trying to explain to Kenan, like, why we should look out for this rat. And then Kenan is very arrogant here. He's like, oh, yeah, if I was a rat, that'd be terrible.
I'll let you know when I become a rat.
Which, Adam, I hate to get too... metaphysical, but this is just about the same exact perspective that Western man takes with interacting with the living world.
Yeah, no, it's I would say it's a very American perspective of, it doesn't bother me if it's not my problem, it's not my problem.
Right, and it's like, oh, this other thing has feelings and emotions? Like, that's so silly.
Looks fine for my house.
Right. I have a nice lawn. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so he does not really care for his neighbor, even if that neighbor is a dumb little animal. And
then Kenan falls asleep. Literally, he falls, like he's sitting up in his bed, and then he falls over and is asleep.
And we return to the wonderful dreamscape of Kenan and Kel.
This one is a little bit scary.
It is. What would we describe that we're looking at here?
Okay, so imagine a scene from Tom and Jerry. Jerry is like coming out of his hole in the wall. Except instead of it being Jerry, it's Kenan with mouse ears and a black nose and whiskers and a tail in like a brown jumpsuit. with a chain.
Well, that's the part that I kind of felt bad about this. It's like they clearly didn't have like the props team or whatever didn't obtain a mouse costume. They're just like, all right, let's just dress Kenan all in brown. So he's got like white stripes going down his arms, and like it doesn't.
It's actually kind of it's funny though because it's still him.
Yeah, it's still maybe they were trying to say something about this still being Kenan.
They were, Adam. I'm telling you, this is the subconscious, Adam. This is how the subconscious works.
Yeah, he sees a giant mouse trap and a block of cheese there, and who else does he see?
Oh, he looks up and he sees Kel and Chris, and then the exterminator, like looking down at him.
The same thing as Bag and Sag and Kel's perspectives, like looking up at the when he was in the bag.
In the bag, that's right.
And the scene ends with him being sprayed by rat spray.
Mm-hmm. He's sprayed with rat spray. Yeah, he like can't. He has nowhere to go because the door closes behind him, and then he's kind of trapped and almost like
a rat, maybe.
Yes, trapped and sprayed like a rat. And this is a great metaphor for what happens to the rat.
Trapped, scared. He doesn't know what's going on, and like that's a very. I gotta say, good message this episode. Like think about last episode. What was the message of that one? Don't have Kel as a friend.
That's right. Yeah.
Try and fix your mistakes to comic effects. No, this one's it's a message of empathy.
Yep. Exactly. It's one of the reasons I liked it. But not even a message of empathy. So before we get to what's next, Kenan is like talking in his sleep, and then we zoom out, and it's him laying in bed, and then he is abruptly awoken by what?
A glass of water in the face.
He's so mad. He's like, "Why am I wet?" And of course, Kel, the man who spilled the water on him, said, "Oh, you were having a nightmare, and I wanted to wake you up."
Yes, and Kenan describes his nightmare to him, and Kel puts together pieces and says, like, now you know how Wendell feels, showing his emotional intelligence. And now Kenan does what he does and makes a vow. From now on, I will dedicate my life to make sure that no harm comes to any other rat ever.
He's fully changed. Very childish change.
Yeah, he's like Jonah emerging from the whale. He's like a different person.
A true metamorphosis. Some could say a reincarnation of sorts.
Because he put such a firm point on it, Aaron, I want to revisit a tab of mine that I wrote down in our third episode, Finding Things the Hemingway.
Oh my god.
Kenan's life goals. He had 3. Save someone's life, profess his love to a girl, and climb something really adventurous like Mount Everest. I'm adding a 4th one to the list. That he's going to, in his power, to make sure that no harm comes to any rat again ever.
My favorite is that he wakes up in like the middle of the night and declares this. I mean, it must be nice to be able to interpret your dreams so clearly.
Yeah, to have such one-for-one dreams. I wish mine were that way.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't just me in school, like with an exam.
Yes, those are the worst.
And the school's like really big.
Oh no, my pencil eraser is gone. I have to erase this.
After the commercial,
it's daytime now, and that happened in the middle of the night. And so Kenan and Kel are like, we gotta go get the rat and we're gonna go save Wendell. And so they start getting dressed in the middle of the night, and then it's daytime. There's a customer who gives Chris the money for his purchase. And Chris opens the cash register drawer, and the rat is in there. And then Chris is like, I suppose you're not gonna shop here ever again. The guy snatches the money and leaves.
How'd that rat get in that? The rat's like magical, right?
I think places like that. Yes.
Maybe the rat was transformed by Chris's mother.
Yes. I have a theory, Adam. I have a new theory. So, maybe, you know how like we have this idea of like purgatory? Or like, right? So it's like maybe purgatory is everything that you're afraid of. Or like dislike or profess that you hate in this world, and you have to try to find God in that thing. What if this rat is God?
Wow.
What if this rat can just walk through walls.
So earlier I was asking myself the question of, like, you know, because this is a very simple episode. I'm like, what do you think the rat symbolizes? that was not on my list.
Fear in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fear, what is fear trying to do? It's challenging people to see the good in everything, even the things you're afraid of.
My other symbolism idea was that Wendell represents Kenan's employment at Rigby's.
Oh.
He's always playing with food and messing around.
Taking bites out of things.
Yeah, right. And Kel is supportive of it because of his orange soda, like gig and stuff like that. And when he sees that Kenan wants to kill it and get rid of it, and he's deterred by his, you know, hatred of his job, he wants him to reignite that passion. Because this episode, it starts off with saying that Kenan doesn't work a lot, and in this episode he does nothing but work to do good.
That's right.
Yeah, it's
right.
a shift.
Well, at first he's trying to do good for Chris, because it's like, we gotta get rid of this rat. Oh yeah, we gotta get rid of this rat because I'm afraid of it, and so I'm gonna try to get rid of it. But then, after the dream sequence, it transitions into this.
After his suffering, it becomes, he uses his scheming for good.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm taking a stand. No way is this rat gonna die on my watch.
So he begs Chris for more time, and Chris gives them until the end of the day to catch this rat. And they have, what was it, 3 different methods of trying to catch this rat.
Meanwhile, I just have to say, Kenan is wearing his
awful is the word.
yellow and red and green checkered, like, diamond pattern button down, and it is just the perfect rat capturing outfit.
Yeah, no, he's rat ready in this one.
You know what that shirt he's wearing looks like?
What's that?
It looks like a flag that you use in, like, NASCAR to signal like the race begins.
Yeah, yeah, right.
What's the famous expression? The rat
race. Yeah.
Right. And you just said working. Like the rat symbolizes Kenan's, like, employment. He is, yeah, you're right. Like, he's trying to keep this alive so that he doesn't have to actually join the rat race. Which is made up of all the dead rats. All of the dead rats who are racing to their new reincarnate. I don't believe in reincarnation, really, necessarily. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I'm saying in this world, well, his shirt is trying to get the rat started on a new life.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. It's literally, it's about Chris hiring someone to terminate the rat, to terminate his employment. And he wants to keep this job because he realized how good it is.
Right. Oh, right. It's almost like this. It's almost like a job that you get to be a child at, but still, like, you know, make some money.
He's got it good, and he wants to capture that. And his first method of capturing it is the box with the stick and the string.
Which, so yeah, they're like sitting down, and what I love about this episode is it's very realistic. There's always customers in Rigby's.
Always customers.
Right. And so Kenan and Kel are hiding behind the apple crate with this, like, ruler and this shoebox and cheddar cheese. To which Kel tells Kenan, Wendell doesn't like cheddar cheese. This isn't going to work.
It turns out Wendell rolls up anyway. And I loved how it works. Kenan pulls the stick, the box falls on Wendell. Great.
Wonderful.
Usually something else goes wrong, but no, that's it. But...
So, this is a great prop.
Excellent prop.
They have a
like an RC car.
Yeah, like a car, and it's just, like, running around, and so they're chasing the box.
The box, yeah, no,
with the rat underneath it. At one point, it goes in between Kenan's legs.
Yeah, and customers, and it's, like, hiding. Whoever's controlling it's doing a really good job.
Right. And so they're, like, on the ground. They're, like, trying to jump on it. Kenan and Kel, they're all around the whole store. Kel finally jumps on it. They capture it, and they're about to celebrate. And then Kel stands up, and then with it brings the box. And he's like, look, Kenan, I got it. And then the rat runs away.
So, all right, take 2. They have brought in a dog to find this rat. This is not one of the rat-finding dogs, I have to point out.
A large German Shepherd who may or may not be named Bloodbath.
It's no rat terrier either. Their plan is to scare the rat out of the store. The dog barks.
That's right.
And then what?
The rat shows up, and then the dog runs away.
Dragging Kel behind with him.
Pulls Kel with him, yeah. Where did they get the dog? I don't know. That's my one continuity flaw, besides the timing of the wake up and them coming to Rigby's.
Worth mentioning that Charlotte's involved now, and she's helping them out too.
Oh yeah, she's on board.
Yeah, so with this next one, this one is probably my continuity, my flaw of this episode, is that Kenan lays out a bunch of fly paper.
It's basically like fly paper, although it doesn't really look like it.
Glue traps are a very inhumane way of catching mice. It's probably worse than a regular mouse trap.
Yes. But these are not, like, they're just sticky. I think that they would be able to pull it off.
Mm-hmm. They might be able to just slow down this rat.
Slow it down, right. And so then Kenan, in a very, I don't even know if he's trying to do this, but he kind of, it doesn't seem like he's interested in Charla, but he traps him and Charla back in this one little corner with all the sticky pads around them.
100 sticky pads have filled the back room. And Charlotte points out, yeah, we're kind of stuck here, aren't we?
How are we going to get out? And then in comes Kel, who for some reason they didn't tell this plan to, and he just falls on all the sticky pads and rolls around in them.
Yeah, he just nonstop. Unfortunately, they have run out of time, and they're sitting by the counter all dejected. Kel says that Wendell's going to be social studies.
And they're like, Kel, you mean history? He just looks so, like, defeated. He's like, oh, I love that so much. I love that joke so much.
That's a really good joke.
That's such a good joke. And it's something Kel would say.
Sometimes you hear jokes on the show that's like, I hear that one all the time. That's brand new. That's I've never heard it since. Joke. So finally here, Chris arrives and they kind of report the glum news to him.
And he's like, okay, it looks like we got to call the exterminator. He was kind of cheering for him.
He points out a terrible smell from the store.
Yeah, and at first you're like, oh, did the rat die? But no, apparently Bloodbath's brother left a stinky in Rigby's at some point that we did not see on camera.
Yes, and and Chris is like, yeah, great. So this is bad for my store.
Rats, dogs. What else is next?
This does inspire Kenan. I think it's cool that Kenan's idea comes from somewhere instead of just out of the blue.
I'm telling you, it's great writing. Like,
yeah.
This is a very well written, like, not concise, but like contingent episode. It all fits together nicely.
It's one continuous story too. It's not like last time where we spent a lot of time doing other things that don't exactly relate.
That are just so goofy.
Kenan's idea is that they make the place smell so bad that a rat doesn't want to be in it.
And then Charlotte goes, I see where you're going with this. I'm not going to help you.
Proving again that she's the smartest character in the show.
She is very smart, and that's pretty much the end of Charla for this episode. Thankfully, we got a lot of good Charla here.
Yes, she's a welcome voice of reason.
Right, the Charlotte Kenan dynamic. This seems like here was one thing. So we pointed this out earlier in another episode. It's like, why isn't Kenan, like, I don't know, attracted to Charla or something? And I think it's actively seeking out. Right, I think it's because she knows him too well because she works with him. She knows that he's kind of just like this, like, shortcut guy.
That tracks. What are Kenan and Kel wearing in this next scene?
Space suits.
Yes, like costume space suits. They're like
so good.
Metallic
and then they get this. They have this. They're holding this red canister that says stink bomb on it.
Yes, I don't know what this is for normally.
I don't know. I like how Kel's wearing this like silver spacesuit and his backwards like whatever you call it, bowler's hat or whatever.
I think Kenan must be familiar with these because of like pranks at school and stuff like that.
Seems like it.
But he rips off the safety tab. He kind of gets it ready to go. He's talking to Kel with his mask off, which he can do now thanks to the CDC.
All right.
Kel has brought a cage in case Wendell doesn't leave. Maybe he has a chance to catch him in the cage.
And so meanwhile, Wendell crawls into Kenan's helmet. He puts the helmet on, and then they rip the tab off the stink bomb and let the stink bomb go. And so the rat is in Kenan's in
his helmet. What a smart rat!
So
right?
Smart.
He goes to the one place that he'll be safe from the smell.
The rat is trying to teach Kenan empathy and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, what does compassion mean? Compassion means to suffer with. Calm means with. Passion means suffer. That is what this rat is trying to do.
Yeah, the rat's kind of saying to Kenan, like, we are one and the same. We both deserve to live.
The rat symbolizes Christ. I'm joking.
Well,
I just covered all the faiths. If you can't tell, we did a faith in
we're
science.
scattershot of faiths.
Just all of them. All of them represented in this episode.
I have to point out, those apples are toast, right? Kenan Kel just ruined them.
Oh my god, they ruined so many things with the stink bomb. Kenan sees the rat in his mask and is like, oh, it's so close. And doesn't realize that.
Look
it's
how close he is.
Yeah.
Realizing he's inside the mask.
He rips it off. They try to chase down,
He does not rip it off. He instead starts destroying shelves. Kenan pulls a full-on Kel in this outfit.
Oh yeah, he just ducks his head and starts destroying Rigby's.
Yeah, clearing
Kel
shelves.
eventually rips the helmet off Kenan, gets Wendell into the cage, closes the lid, and we have a successful Kenan and Kel plot.
Chris arrives because he forgot something or another, and he smells the stink bomb and faints.
First he's like, "What happened here?" Because there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Good luck calculating the damaged goods cost.
I don't know. I don't know what's salvageable in this shop anymore.
And so then Chris faints, and roll credits. Adam, Kenan and Kel were successful.
They did it. They won.
At the same time that they made a fool of themselves. I wish this guy wrote more episodes.
Yeah, I think so. He clearly did his homework on what Kenan Kel is supposed to be. Here, my question, did he, though? This is not your typical formula.
No, it's not, but I always like the formulas that are a little bit different.
The formula breakers are almost as good as the formula ones sometimes.
That's right.
Like our Christmas episode we loved.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the outro is basically just they walk out on stage. There's a Kenan's like, oh, so did we get Wendell? And Kel's like, yeah, here, let me show you where Wendell is.
I got him right here.
The lid is open. Of course, Wendell is gone. And Kel's like, I opened the lid to get some airflow. And of course, it's like a wire, so there's a bunch of airflow already.
But it's got the bars.
Clearly, the rat is somewhere. And then we hear a yell from the audience. And it's fun. It's fun.
The audience starts freaking out, and Kenan says to Kel, grab some cheddar cheese, some Swiss cheese, and some macaroni and cheese, and meet me in the audience.
In the audience, right. And he's like, Kenan, I told you Wendell doesn't like cheddar cheese.
Oh, here it goes. And when he does that, he throws the cage and has to pick it up.
That's right. I don't even know if that was on purpose. Adam, this is a great episode. I don't care what IMDb says. the character change for Kenan mid-episode based on a dream sequence where he learned empathy and compassion for this other living thing and then wanted to pledge his life to serve these all rats. It is so beautiful and on point with the kind of vigor and inspiration we need to solve the world's environmental problems. I am a big fan of this episode. I am a big fan of You Dirty Rat.
Going over it like shot by shot, I'm really surprised by how tight it is. Like I said, it's a different story, but it's a good story.
Yeah, it sticks. Like it all fits together.
Kenan and Kel rarely learn things on this show. Usually they get into trouble. That's the big thing. They don't end up happy at the end, and they do in this one, which is it's nice change of pace. It really is.
I am so appalled that it's that it's the lowest rating on 62 out of 62. I think it's way better than that.
Well, first, let me quick ask you, whose fault do you think this episode is? Kenan's or Kel's?
I think it's
neither.
Kel's. I think it's neither, right? But it's Kel's fault that Kenan developed empathy.
Yes, it's Kel's fault that
Kenan planted the seed for Kenan's character change. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He set the stage, and that is the best part about it, isn't it? That it wasn't. It's Kenan and Kel. It was Kel helping Kenan for once.
Right.
Grow.
It was Kel's simple love for this rat that changed Kenan's. Yes.
Like
changed
outlook on
his
life.
worldview. Yeah.
Right.
Pretty big deal.
So I told you about the very low IMDb score. It has a 6.2 on IMDb. that's as low as Kenan Kel scores get. Out of 10 bottles of orange soda, how many would you give You Dirty Rat?
9.5.
Wow. That is through the roof.
I love this episode. I love this episode.
If you love it, you celebrate it. I worked my way up from what my original score I was thinking was, because I'm just like looking at the other ones that I gave scores to this season, and like, it's better than this is better than a Happy B-Day Mark and Chicago Witch Trials. I would rather watch this again. The slapstick's good, the writing's good. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. Way better than 6.2.
Yes. So get that right, IMDb. We'll correct you. I think I'm gonna. One of us has to write a glowing review on that site for this one.
Oh, I think I will.
All right.
Maybe 9.5 is a little high, but I think I'm allowed to rank it whatever I want because I've reviewed how many episodes of this show. So
a lot.
I have a right. I have a right.
This is our 37th episode. So we're past halfway. I think we've got some street cred for this show. One last fun fact for you. Yeah. The name Wendell is an old German name that means wanderer. Which I think is very apt for a rat. If
you want to talk about spiritual Kel in the spiritual world, I think Wanderer is a pretty good one.
Wendell's is in line with Kel too.
That's right. Okay, I just looked at the description for the next episode and I am so excited.
What's our next episode?
Freezer Burned.
Oh boy.
If you watch Diamonds Are for Roger, or what is that episode where they get stuck in the principal's office?
IQ Can Do Better.
IQ Can Do Better. Then you may be in store excited about Freezer Burned.
It's gonna be a fun time in a small space.
That's right. So at this point in the airing of Kenan and Kel was the Christmas break, and so enjoy this next week. Enjoy a little Christmas in June celebration, and we will see you all on the snowy side of Freezer Burned.
Until then.
Oh, here it goes.
Thank you for listening. You can send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all at KenanKelPodcast.